Okay, so we're talking about the Kiss Cam incident at the Coldplay concert. This got a lot of discussion at my household when it happened. Trying to apply attribution theory to this, I found particularly difficult. I was thinking about their behaviors, about how it was pretty distinctive, right? They are canoodling in this public place. They wouldn't have been doing that at work. And then as soon as it was in a public, something that was being recorded or broadcasted, they clearly ducked out of the frame and tried to not be seen. And so I think that really emphasizes to me that this behavior, like the ducking out of the frame, was definitely externally motivated. But at the same time, not I do people duck out of the camera from kiss cams? As far as consensus goes, I don't think that's the case. I think most of the time people laugh or they smile or they'll hit the person next to them or hug them or kiss them or whatever. I think that was very unusual behavior, which would indicate it was more internally motivated. And then as far as consistency over time, it kind of seems like, yes, their behavior has been consistent, that they've been trying to keep their relationship completely private, which would indicate more of an internal motivation. So that's my take on the attribution theory. I think it could be either one. I really think it's interesting when we talk about perceptions to think about what perception do we as the viewers have of these people based on their behavior with absolutely no context and no understanding. And so when you first see that video, they duck out of frame. They're all lovey-dovey, cutesy kissing or holding his arms around her. And then they see they're on the camera and they're smiling. And then suddenly, she's hiding her face and he, jumps away. That looks really guilty. And so because our perception is that behavior equals guilt, they must feel guilty about what they're doing. And they therefore must be doing something wrong. And then we have, the more context comes out later, the fact that, yeah, she's married but separated. And then it's kind of interesting. But I also want to talk about the problematic relationship having, two members of the C-suite having such an affectionate relationship. I was thinking about how difficult it would be to avoid confirmation bias. So you look at your relationship and you see yourselves working together and you think, oh, well, I see all these things we're doing great. And so therefore our relationship isn't a problem. It's not causing any problems at work. It's perfectly appropriate. I also did a little bit of digging. I looked on the company's website, and I just think this is interesting because the company values from their own website is excellence in every role, keeping customers first, hiring incredible people, and focusing on building the industry-leading data ops platform. Okay, so I look at that and I think, these people do not have clear purpose within their organization and clear moral guiding star values within their organization to help guide their people's behavior. Instead, it's almost like they're like, oh, well, excellence in every role, hiring incredible people. It makes me think that they value ego more than they value action. And so thinking about back to, motivations and why people do things, and especially when you talk about the value systems or the morals that people form, whether they're their own intrinsic morals or cultural morals or company values, this company doesn't seem to have any values that would have prevented a relationship like that, which could have been problematic. The last thing that I thought was really interesting is I think this was a serious horns effect kind of situation where people jump to conclusions about what's going on and they assume that the absolute worst about both that CEO and I can't even say it with a straight face, the chief people officer, the head HR, the woman in the situation. So that's kind of my take. I think it's a good idea for us to pull back a little bit and say, how is my perspective shaping, and what is shaping my perception? Is it reality or is it just my feelings, my thoughts, my experiences?